Could hidden easements be lurking right now on your absolute dream property? Well, picture this. You finally find the perfect piece of land, you close the deal, everything is great. And then you discover a utility company actually has the legal right to bulldoze your brand new driveway. Or maybe even worse, a neighboring property owner has a permanent right to just drive their truck right through your backyard whenever they want. Failing to uncover these hidden encumbrances, it can literally cost you thousands of dollars and drag you into some endless, massive legal headaches. So today, we're going to learn exactly how to protect yourself. Welcome to today's Explainer. Okay, let's dive into this. We are focusing entirely on how to check for an easement on property specifically in Louisiana. Now, you probably know Louisiana's legal system is incredibly unique, right? And by unique, I mean your standard out-of-state property checklist is absolutely going to get you into a lot of trouble here. But don't worry, by the end of this explainer, you're going to have a comprehensive, step-by-step methodology to uncover those hidden property lines, making sure your next real estate purchase is a super secure, incredibly wise investment. Think of this as your own personal detective's manual. Here is our roadmap for today. We're covering the hidden property trap, why easements are actually called servitudes down here, the super strict public records doctrine, the 30-year chain, a pro-buyer's action plan, and finally, my verdict and disclaimer. Okay, starting off with Section 1, the hidden property trap. Let's uncover the real, completely unglamorous risks of real estate. You know, the absolute biggest mistake prospective buyers and investors make is just assuming that a quick glance at a property deed gives them the whole picture. It really doesn't. Real-world defects can completely derail a deal out of nowhere. We're talking about things like succession gaps. That's where an owner passes away and the heirs just fail to officially record a judgment of possession. Then you've got wild deeds. These sound crazy, and they kind of are. They're instruments recorded completely outside the index chain of title, which basically makes them invisible if you're just doing a casual search. Add in overlapping conveyances, unreleased historical mortgages, unrecorded mineral leases, the whole shebang. And the truly terrifying part? Whether it's a hidden utility line or a forgotten conservation agreement, these defects can sit totally dormant for decades. They only wake up to wreak havoc when you go to sell the land, or suddenly, boom, a lawsuit is filed against you. Moving on to Section 2. Easements are servitudes here. Time to decode the legal system. If you're an out-of-state buyer, you basically have to learn a whole new legal vocabulary. Louisiana stubbornly and honestly very proudly does not use the English common law system. Instead, it uses a civil law framework rooted heavily in its French and Spanish Napoleonic heritage. So here is the absolute most critical translation you need to make. What the rest of the country calls an easement, Louisiana calls a servitude. Under the Louisiana Civil Code, property rights are organized as a system of real rights that attach directly to the land itself, rather than just being a personal agreement between two people. Let's look at the exact definition. A predial servitude is a charge on a servient estate for the benefit of a dominant estate belonging to a different owner. So what does that mean in plain English? It means your neighbor has a legally binding right to use a piece of your land. Maybe it's a shared driveway or a drainage ditch. But the absolutely crucial point here is that this charge runs directly with the dirt. It is completely inseparable from the property. If you buy the servient estate, which is the property bearing the burden, that servitude transfers automatically to you the second you buy it, whether you knew it was there or not. And hey, this isn't just academic theory. It plays out in court all the time. Just look at the Carpenter v. Guillory case. In that one, a simple handshake deal about property access completely fell apart. Why? Because the written agreement was just too vague. The Louisiana courts threw it right out. They emphasize that because predial servitudes are charges on the estates themselves, any judgment or record has to specifically delineate the exact property boundaries of both the dominant and servient estates in the public record. Louisiana is incredibly strict about legal property descriptions. Vague handshake agreements, yeah, they do not survive scrutiny here. Which brings us nicely to Section 3, the public records doctrine. This is your ultimate source of truth. In Louisiana, the public record dictates everything. The court spelled this out perfectly in the Blackwater Marsh case. They stated that an unrecorded instrument is essentially null and void except between third parties. Imagine a neighbor coming up to you and claiming they have a historic right to cross your hunting land because of some deal they made with a previous guy 20 years ago. Well, if that agreement isn't properly recorded at the courthouse in the parish conveyance or mortgage records, that claim is practically meaningless against you as a new good faith buyer. It strictly comes down to what is filed at the courthouse, period. But there is a massive catch. Under Louisiana law, all predial and mineral servitudes are subject to a 10-year liberative prescription rule. That's a mouthful, but it's basically a high-stakes use-it-or-lose-it countdown clock. If a servitude is not used for a period of 10 continuous years, it's legally extinguished. Poof, gone. So an ancient deed giving someone access across your land, it might actually be legally dead if they haven't used it in a decade, even if it's still physically written in the historical chain of title.
All right, Section 4, the 30-year chain. We know the rules now, so how do we actually investigate? How deep do you really need to dig?
To truly spot those concealed patterns, the succession gaps, or those dormant defects we talked about, you need a 3-decade horizon. A 30-year chain of title assembles every single ownership transfer across, you guessed it, 30 years. Now, short searches, those might be totally fine for a quick refinance, but for a serious acquisition or to actually prevent litigation, 30 years is the depth you need. That's where all the messy family shuffles, unreleased interests, and misexecuted estate deeds finally become visible. So where do you actually find all this juicy information? Well, unlike a lot of other places, Louisiana has absolutely no central, magical, statewide land registry for these detailed instruments. Kind of frustrating, I know. You basically have to act like a localized private investigator. You've got to go to the parish clerk of court in the exact parish where the property is located. There, you'll need to search both the vendor-vendee index, which is the conveyance index, and the mortgager-mortgagee index, the mortgage index. Oh, and for historical sovereign grants, or if you're looking at property near navigable waterways, you might even need to check the Louisiana State Land Office. Let's turn all this theory into some highly actionable advice in Section 5, the Buyer's Action Plan. Here is the exact verification protocol that professionals use to bulletproof a real estate transaction in Louisiana. Step 1, have a pro perform that parish index search going back a minimum of 30 years. Step 2, utilize the eClerks LA portal. This is a super helpful statewide portal that lets you run a diagnostic check across multiple parishes. You want to do this to make sure no wild deeds or regional pipeline grants overlap your target property from right across the parish line. And step 3, commission a LAPHELS compliance survey. Now, listen closely to this part. You must explicitly instruct your licensed land surveyor in writing to include comprehensive research and mapping of all recorded and apparent servitudes. If you don't explicitly ask for it, standard practice actually doesn't require them to search the public records for encumbrances. Crazy, right? And hey, here is one more crucial practical tip if you plan on actually developing the property. Louisiana's dig law strictly governs physical excavation. You are legally required to serve notice to the Regional Notification Center, you probably know it as 811, at least 48 hours but not more than 120 hours before you start digging or demolishing anything. This is exactly how you verify the physical location of underground utility servitudes right before you break ground. And trust me, you really want to do this so you avoid being the person who accidentally knocks out the internet for the entire parish. All right, Section 6. Let's wrap up this investigation with our final verdict and disclaimer. First, the final verdict. Meticulously verifying servitudes using these exact Louisiana-specific methods isn't just boring paperwork. It is literally the only way to save yourself thousands of dollars and completely avoid endless legal headaches down the road. And of course, please note this important disclaimer. This explainer is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. You should always consult with qualified professionals, like a great local real estate attorney or a trusted title company, for your personal legal matters and before making any big property investments. So, I'll leave you with this one question. Are you fully prepared to investigate the true history of your next property investment? Don't let a hidden servitude turn your dream property into an absolute nightmare. Do the deep research, demand that 30-year chain, and protect your investment for sure. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy hunting out there!